Hey, Sagelings. Well, I got tagged by Zabora in a nice little witch tag where she asked three questions. What is your belief in gods? What is your belief in magic? And why do you have hold these beliefs? And I had to think about this a little bit longer than I expected because, I want to give a good response. And I had a lot of other projects I was working on. So I'm sorry it took me so long, Zabora. Uh, I have to start with my view on the universe because it's very important. Science has proven that everything is energy. We can take anything and everything, we can tear it down to its atoms and see that it is positive, neutral, and negative charges. Everything is affected by energy. So, I view the universe as a body of energy that interacts with itself. That energy can collect and manifest itself in many ways. I also know that humanity has a lot to learn about all the energies. We are just starting to fathom spiritual energy in the scientific realm. Because we have the ghost boxes and they can now have some equipment to kind of get the feel of where a spirit can be. So there is a lot of energies out there that we don't know, and all energies can affect other energies. And laws of physics also states that no energy can be destroyed, it is just transformed. So that is very important to know. What is my beliefs in gods? I do not believe in gods like the Christians do. I believe that gods are collections of energies that manifest because they have a similar vibe or similar location where they pooled in, and they manifest themselves in different ways. I'm going to use the example of Ardwena, who is a Celtic nature goddess. She is named after the Ardennes forest. Okay. Now, the Ardennes forest is large, it's vast, it's full of life, it's full of energy. Well, all that energy from all that life has gained a certain vibe, and that vibe has pooled into what we call Ardwena, or what I call Ardwena. And so when I ask for assistance from the nature goddess, I am trying to pool from that energy. But some people are going to say, but it's just a pool of energy. It does not have a personality. And all the energies have a different frequency of vibe to it. And so regional gods, goddesses, they each have their own little unique vibe, very similar to other vibes, but in some ways we don't quite comprehend. There's a different vibe to it. Also, there are people and other animals that live in and around the Ardennes forest. People with great spirit. I believe that there is a threshold in each person that they must meet, and if they meet that threshold of spirit and mind, they leave something in the mundane world. And so there's hundreds of these people that done that in the Ardennes forest. What they leave is just pure energy. It's a part of their spirit, and that energy coalesces with the other energies around the Ardennes forest. And this is where we get our information, our knowledge, our lore, when we try to channel with or connect with the Ardennes forest. We're calling it Ardwena, but it is bits and pieces of emotion, knowledge that we gain from the people that live there. Spirit guides, we talk about having animals as a spirit guide. Well, if you are channeling through the Ardennes forest, Arduina, you could meet a spirit that um, is from that area. Let's say there was a large herd of deer there. Well, if you have a large, each animal has their own energies, right? And so they form their own like egregore that becomes part of the Ardennes forest. And so if you're like channeling, you get the feeling that you're talking to a deer or kind of interacting with the deer. It could be the deer egregore from the Ardennes forest. It's it's not human, but it's a spirit. It is a different vibe. Um, then, like I said, people lived in and around the Ardennes forest. We could channel a druid, probably, because that's a Celtic area. But, there could have been like a great Celtic leader or somebody with a grand spirit that left a part of themselves in the Ardennes forest, and that energy joined all the rest of the energies. And if we kind of work along the Ardennes forest, we might interact with it. And so that is where the intellect comes, in my opinion, for the gods and goddesses, because I believe in regional gods and goddesses on that part. Now, what about these other types of gods and goddesses? Emotional. Well, I think if a tribe, a group of people have you know, a uniform theme to them, that they can create a vibe um, of their own. Because if they're highly creative, like let's say there's a small city by a Druid college, and there's a lot of bards there. All that creative energy can manifest itself and form like a goddess of poetry. And so I have a goddess of poetry. And that is how I believe that this particular entity has manifested itself. And it will have bits and pieces of knowledge and inspiration from all the bards that lived in and around that area, that that passed away, that left a part of themselves there. And so I could interact, try to connect with that pool of energy, and that would be my way of connecting with the Celtic goddess of poetry. Okay. Now, I wanted to explain this part. Um, Regional gods, that's kind of what I've been talking about. Regional gods and goddesses exist because, in my mind, um, every group has their vibe, their energy. When I go to Ames, Iowa, I feel a very creative, positive energy. And the reason why I feel this great, positive, creative energy is because Ames, Iowa is a home of the Iowa State Cyclones. It's a college town, a university town. And so you have all these people who are thinking, being creative. They are developing their skills. And so all that energy from all these people is coalescing where the spirit of Ames is a good, positive spirit. Now, if you go into another town, let's take some of those towns in Ohio that are so terrible that we hear about. They don't have jobs. They don't have the manufacturing anymore. Because they lack their creativity, their spirit has been lost. Instead of the positive, creative, hey, we're building this, we're building that, look at us grow, they are struggling. And so this town develops kind of a bad vibe, a negative darkness to it. Have you ever walked in a city or drove through a city and it's just like you didn't feel comfortable. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Each town, if there's enough people, can kind of create their own egregore spirit, which reflects on how the town operates. There is a small town that I drive through in Iowa called Bagley. They have nothing there. They lost their school, everything. The town is depressing. It's sad. You blink, you miss it. But there is that kind of a negative spirit to it. You don't feel comfortable in it. You just want to drive through it and move on. But that's what I mean. How um, what I view as a god and goddess is kind of the collection of energies from an area, from the actions of the people, the animals, the history of. So we could actually have also a spirit, a minor god goddess of war that could occur at like Gettysburg, because we had the Great Battle at Gettysburg. Um, that part's a concept of mine, but that's how I view the gods. Question 2 is, what is your belief in magic? And magic is the use of energy to change the world around you to get a desired result. Now, I had previously stated that the whole universe, materially wise, is energy. But our emotions are energy, our thoughts are energy, our actions are energy. Basically, energy's everywhere, in anything and everything. And so if you learn to channel energy, to shape energy, to send it out, you can change the world. Okay, that's how I define it. Yeah. Well, I also believe that everybody has different levels of energy manipulation skills. It's not a uniform, everybody can do the same thing. Everybody might have the potential, but what they are able to deliver is something completely different. So I could like do 100, whereas the person right next to me might be only able to do 20, and then the person a couple miles away from me could do 200. If we're talking about energy levels here. I also believe that spells are on a level system, because some spells are pretty darn easy, and some spells are going to be very difficult to perform. You got to figure, the more complex the spell is going to be due to the result that you're trying to get. If you're trying to find your keys, minor little thing, okay, anybody can do that. But if you're trying to come up with rent money, that's a more difficult spell. And so that would require more energy. Talking about tools. Tools are an extension of who we are. Okay. You don't need tools to perform magic, but they help. They work as a focus. Some people need them for psychological reasons, but you can cast a spell with your bare hands. You don't need the fancy wand or anime. I think visualization is very important in magic. The process of casting a spell is basically trying to get yourself centered, getting knowing your intent, visualizing it in your head. You collect the energy, then with that visualization, you're shaping it. You are trying to get a clear as possible focus on what you want. And, some people, if they do an incantation or chant, you start reciting it and you release it. And that's releasing the energy. Some people, like myself, always end an incantation or chant with "so mote it be." Um, Magic is not like Harry Potter. While we can do a lot of things with magic because it is subtle energies that we're working with, we cannot take our hands out and cast a lightning bolt. That's not going to happen. Um, Spell work is not guaranteed. Just because you did a spell does not mean that you're going to get results that you wanted in the time frame that you wanted. Intent has to be very specific. Small distraction could screw everything up. There is spell perversion or spell failure. So if you are somebody that is not very well prepared, you don't have all your ducks in a row to say, um, there is a higher chance that you could have a spell perversion. You can get partial success with spells, like the rent spell. You're trying to get enough money to pay rent. People do that. What happens if for partial success, let's say you owe $500, but you got $300. You didn't get it all, you got some. It's still a partial success. Let's see. I believe that you cannot go against somebody's willpower. You cannot use it to enslave people. There's too much going on with binding, banishing, and all that. You can put magic into your daily life. When I try to make this segment before, I was talking about my favorite spoon. When I moved out on my own, almost 30 years ago, I found the old wooden spoons. This thing is like 16 inches long. It's not the little thin ones, it's the thick wooden spoon. Something that you would use to mix like a stew, something heavy, chili, yeah. I could make a small rune sigil and place it on the handle and put a little magic into my cooking. Something that everything I make with it is a little bit better quality. It's something small, but we can do that. So those are my basic beliefs on what is magic. Part 3 is why do you have and hold on to these beliefs? I have to keep an open mind. I know that man has not figured everything out. There is so much out there we don't know. There are, I think, ancient technologies that we have shut ourselves out to. And I've had experiences in my life where I can't answer. And when I understood magic, and when I done more research into magic, it made some things seem more logical. In my videos, I talk about visualization. Well, along with visualization, there's vocalization. Words are important. You can connect thoughts and energies into words, and when you say them, you can make them manifest, just like visualization. This little thing, really messed with my head. We all know 9/11. What you don't know is that for the longest time, I blamed myself for it. Why? Because about 6 or 8 months before 9/11, I was watching a program on the History Channel talking about the security of our nuclear reactors. And they were saying that those large cooling towers were strong enough they could withstand the impact of a 747. Well, in my head, I just said this out loud. Well, maybe that's what the terrorists need to use to take down those buildings. And then it happened. The trauma shut my mind off a little bit, and I have had to work really hard to open my mind up to releasing that energy of what I say. Because ever since then, I worry about if I say something that could have negative implications for myself or people I know, I have to automatically go, no, I don't want that to happen. Let's see. I have had experiences where I should have been dead. And somehow I had this feeling that I shouldn't do things. Um, just like this driving force of protection. I was supposed to take a trip with some friends, and my inner voice was saying, "Don't do it." And I'm glad I didn't. They were in Iraq. One of them was put in the hospital for about 3 months, and they all got arrested for possession of alcohol. Yeah. I have seen spirits. I have interacted with spirits. I have seen batteries go dead in seconds. I was on a paranormal investigation, and the general rule was you don't put the batteries in until you get there. We had went to the store. We had bought multiple packs of batteries, and before we entered the property, we put the new batteries in. I walked in there. I felt what I knew was activity. I took one picture and my batteries were dead. And so I had to change batteries again quickly. And those batteries went dead again after one picture. And so, I only had one more package of batteries left, and so I had to change my activities. But I have had way too many interactions for there not to be something else out there. I believe magic is real because there have been times, again, where I should not have done so good on something, and I did amazing. Because we talk about our past lives where we could inherit a skill that a past life has had. I have that. I'm seeing that. It's weird when you have never done anything before and you can pick up the tools and you can just do it, and you're doing a better job than people have done that particular thing for a few months. I've done that. I have had thoughts in my head that don't make any sense. And then the other thing, and this is weird, Cindy says that I talk during my sleep, and there are times I'm talking in a foreign language. We have recorded some of it, and yes, I am talking something, and I have tried to translate it in my head because I have translator programs on the computer, and nothing that I've said makes any sense because I can't convert the sounds to all the letters required, and there are so many languages there. I believe in other planes where creatures like Bigfoot exist. Because see, we have like there's in the on Alaska, there is a lot of disappearances where there people just disappear without a trace. Same thing with vehicles. We got the Bermuda Triangle. I believe that portals exist and that entities can travel to and from. Um, like I said, why I believe in all this is because there's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of things that we don't know. And if you think about it, everything in the spiritual sense, some of it makes a little bit more sense. Yes, I believe in luck. I believe that odds sometimes can get into your favor, but there are days where it's like I am 100% on or 100% off. Whereas, things should go back and forth, and, you should average out. But there, like I said, there are days where I'm just like boom, 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 and I'm good. It's weird. And so that's why I believe in magic and I believe in the different gods that I do. Um, and I'm going to add this part in there. And it's also the reason why I don't believe in Christianity, because Christianity is so restrictive, and some of the parts don't make sense. And there's proof that like Noah's flood never happened. Um, and the God that the Christians believe in, I just don't think is possible. I don't even think Jesus Christ is possible. Um, but that's my opinion. So anyway, thanks for the tag, Zabora. That is very interesting. I enjoy being able to reflect on that a little bit and think about things, because that is also a great way to kind of, it's not testing our faith, but thinking about it and trying to conceive it as a whole. I think a lot of people out there have a lot of gaps in their faith and they don't want to address them. Um, by answering these questions, I kind of had to address everything, or I wanted to address everything because I think it's very important. And as I look at my voice recorder, this segment, the question 3, is already over 9 minutes, so I better shut the hell up. So everybody, um, I want to thank you for watching the video. I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday, and more important, that you take it easy and be at peace. Thank you.